Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to a July 10th edition of the MSP Initiative MSP Talk. My name is George Bardissi, and here we go. MSPinitiative.com. That's where we park everything that we do here at MSP Initiative. I'll give you some highlights. One, we have thank you to everybody that came out last month. We had two really successful events. One in Dublin, third year in a row with DattoCon Dublin was awesome. Probably the best year out of the three, in my opinion, but I digress. First time we've been down to Tampa with our friends from Roost who were running the Flow conference. Was very well done. Congratulations to that team. The second year event, and my opinion, kicked it out of the park, knocked it out of the park is probably the right way to say it. Sorry, should be in baseball mode. Anyway, so that was really well done. I know that both of those events are happening next year. So, if you're one of these people who actually pay attention ahead of time, I believe DattoCon is moving for the first time from Dublin to Prague. If you happen to go to the Enable Prague conference a couple years back, same place. I think there's only so many places in Prague you could probably hold that many people. And then I believe the Flow conference is moving to Nashville next year. So if you're keeping track, pay attention ahead of time. I've given you a couple clues there. Coming on up, we will be down at the used to be called CompTIA, GTIA, Global Technology Industry Association. The ChannelCon, still the name of the event. That's down in Nashville at the end of this month. We'll be there. Nothing to do, not doing anything formal, but we'll be, in the crowd with the community there. And then we launched not long ago, like within the last month or two, the Channel Sports Tour. So for my, haven't introduced him yet, but my fellow Eagles fan on the call today on the podcast, we are doing the championship tour here, but in your city, hopefully. So Eagles at Kansas City on September 14th. Then both on September 28th, we're going to the first ever Dublin NFL game. That'll be Viking Steelers in Dublin on the September 28th. Later on that day, as if we had a jet that we owned, Eagles at Tampa Bay, Sunday, September 28th. So if you're a Florida, Tampa person, we're coming to you. So that was Kansas City, Dublin, Tampa Bay. Moving on to November 10th, Green Bay. Eagles at Green Bay, November 10th. Hopefully it's not totally ice cold. But that should be good, because everybody, if you're an NFL fan, should make it to Green Bay at least once, to visit the shrine. November 23rd, that's the week going into Thanksgiving, but perfect for you Dallas fans, Eagles at Dallas. And then to close out the Channel Sports Tour for 2025, Eagles at Los Angeles on December 8th. So, recap: Kansas City, Dublin, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, Dallas, and Los Angeles. We are coming to you. I'm going to mesh a little NFL with IT and MSP world. If that doesn't sell it, nothing will. The wait list is up. Hit channelsportstour.com and you can ask to be put on the wait list. And hopefully you make it on there, which means you'll get tailgate and a game ticket on us, and hopefully the people that come together to help make this happen. So that is our newest thing. I'll round out a couple of announcements. DattoCon in Miami at the Fountain Blue. We did this last year. It was absolutely epic. I had no idea that Live nightclub inside of Fountain Blue is the absolute place to be on South Beach in Miami. And sure as hell, we have booked that venue out again. So it's actually pretty cool. The whole place is like a robot. I mean, it's hard to explain unless you've been there. And then, so we'll be doing another block party around DattoCon Miami. And then right around the corner from there, later on that month, close out the year at DattoCon in Sydney, down at the ICC there in the harbor. So that is the rest of our in-person schedule for the year. I know that was a lot, but you'll find all of that at mspinitiative.com. And you can see we like to do fun things with fun people and fun places. All right. Now all my housekeeping is done. Zach from IONOS, fellow Eagles season ticket holder. I just learned, I don't know how it took this long for me to run into you. But welcome to the podcast. How you doing today, my friend?
Doing great, George. Really appreciate you having me on here and go birds. And yeah, I'm gonna have to hit a couple of these events across the country with you guys.
Oh, I mean, listen, this is perfectly tailor-made for you. You just didn't know till you showed up to this podcast.
I couldn't be any happier. My day's complete. So
Championship tour.
that's right.
Super Bowl, defending Super Bowl champs. Actually, if you're listening to this podcast on July 10th, since the Eagles open up the NFL schedule the first Thursday in September against the Dallas Cowboys here in Philadelphia, training camp is only 12 days away. It's hard to think about
Yep.
that. Training camp starts in July, but they got to start a little bit earlier because they start the season a little bit earlier. I guess that is the side effect of winning a Super Bowl.
I saw that today too. It's crazy. It's here already. So we're ready to roll.
I got to be honest with you. Feels like there's not a lot going on until the football season starts. But that's me. Zach, for people who haven't run into you before, like me
Yeah.
until now, and for obviously first time on the podcast, love to give everybody, just like personal walk down, history lane, like a little bit of background on yourself, like how did you ultimately get into MSP IT tech land? Gives people a little bit of perspective, right? See the world through your sunglasses, and then we'll go from there.
Yeah, no, that sounds great. So yeah, George, I'm right now sitting in Center City, Philadelphia, where our U.S. headquarters is, right next to the Comcast buildings. I'm from South Jersey. Grew up in Washington Township. Right now, reside in South Jersey in Swedesboro, and went to college up at Rutgers University. So in enemy territory with Mets, Giants, Yankees, and other teams that aren't worth even talking about. Um,
That stadium up there stinks. That Meadowlands. Don't worry about
Oh, I call it rent a stadium. Whatever you want to light it up, that's what it is. So, yeah. So there, made my way back to South Jersey, where I reside now, and really always interested in tech and in sales. You worked for a couple startup companies. Worked for a multi-billion-dollar transportation logistics company. And then really wanted to just get into pure tech. And I worked for SunGuard Availability Services for a few years and kind of got into the data center business, into some of the enterprise space, mid-market, selling, cloud, public, private, security, networking services, like I said, co-location services. And then had the opportunity to come to IONOS with some familiar faces from SunGuard to really work in the channel space and realize, I really like the partnership side of things. I like working with distributors. I like working with resellers and really understanding the mutual benefit on both ends and kind of driving bigger initiatives to help both sides of the business and help customers. So, at IONOS, I cover, the channel side of the house. I'm working majorly with MSPs. That's our focus. We're a vendor at IONOS. We're a cloud provider. We're infrastructure as a service. So we're an alternative to Azure and AWS. And what really sets us apart is what MSPs want. We're cheaper. We're 30 to 50% cheaper. We give you dedicated account management and support. You don't need to spend $1 million a year to get support with us. You can have, sign up and work with us, whether that's through PAX 8 or direct reseller programs or direct if you're end customers and get that support. And then get that simplicity. So we don't have all of the feature functionality that you see with Azure and AWS. And if you need all that, that's great. But you probably also need a couple different clouds that you should be working with, and for various reasons. So we really fit into that MSP realm where you see customers with QuickBooks and Active Directory, domain controllers, terminal services, firewalls, and you can have L1s deploy it and make 30% more and get free dedicated account manager and dedicated solutions architect. So it's really our value prop. I'm covering all of North America, all of Latin America. We're globally a German company, so we've really built our company off GDPR compliance and the Cloud Act and that type of thing. That doesn't really play in the States as much, right? Because it doesn't. You have the big players here. So what sets us apart is some of these partnerships and our value. And some pricing. Our big announcement a couple months ago is we just launched the cheapest object storage, S3 compatible object storage in the US at $4.99 a terabyte. So it's cheaper than Wasabi, cheaper than Black Blaze.
I'm putting a sticky note on my desktop. Hold on one second. Write that
George,
down.
we'll get you to sign up before the end of this here.
Hold on. 4.99 per terabyte. Got it.
Yeah.
I wrote that down. Go ahead, keep going.
Yeah, and with some of our partners, it's even a little bit less depending on how you're procuring it. So that's our retail cost to buy object storage. Reason really behind it is people, why would you do that? And I questioned it too because I'm like, that's just so cheap. But I go back to what sets you apart in the U.S. A lot of customers with bigger production environments, that's the lifeblood of their business, right? And if they don't know the vendor, they'll be like, why would I put that with them? If you're going to put all your money with a tiny little bank you don't know about, probably not. You might do a little bit here or there, but something like a commodity like storage, potentially the most boring product in tech, it is what it is. But it's a commodity and it's cheap, and that gets you in the door. We show your value, and then you start looking at our other services. We have white labeled Acronis through us. We have, our compute engine, and then you start working with us, start, buying and building that relationship. So we're really seeing some big waves and really a big push with this instead of just, some smaller alternative to Azure AWS. So it's really, I'm passionate about it because I see these MSPs who really they stay away from infrastructure or continue to stay on-prem, and they can't drive the money and they can't figure out how to sell it. And we're a really good fit for them, and you see them making money and you see the word getting around. So it's really been a good fit. It's something where I can see truly growing locally and truly nationally, and we have so much business internationally already. So it's just going to be, it's really picking up some steam here. So that's a long-winded approach about me.
No. Listen, you jumped into the next thing. All good, but that was a pretty good, transition there. So I'm with you. I was actually right before I jumped on this podcast, I was talking to another guy that's been in the vendor side of MSP land for a long, long time, just switched companies. I was just talking to him literally about this topic. Like, I was like, yeah, why do you have to be Netflix to go to like the big guys and actually get a price that makes sense? And
Yeah.
both cracked up about that. And then we both talked about how, like the Azure, AWS, like Google, there's three, right? Like Google's
Yeah.
probably the cheapest of the three. Um, but like that their prices have been creeping up, all three of them, right? Like even over the last 16 months, 24 months.
Mhm.
And that like even something as simple as like the IP address static prices go doubled, right? And like if you have a lot of those, all of a sudden it's like no choice, right? Just but kind of surprises you. And then we were talking about like the surge auto adjust surprise bill, right? Like,
Yes.
hey, I sold on this. I got surprised by my bill being this. Like, that doesn't work well from an MSP profitability standpoint by any means. And then on the flip side, like the people who are doing a lot of Azure, AWS, Google, like the tool that you need to process the calculator
Right.
you get at the end of the month to figure out what you actually are being charged for. Like you have to like have a tool to be able to decipher the invoice for the thing that you're subscribing to. Uh,
Hmm.
like so we just joked about that. So it's funny, like all of that happened like literally I was like as I was signing into this session. So like let's rewind this because I feel like we are three conversations removed from the word cloud. What does that mean? Like in the mid 2010s, cloud was the marketing term you saw, right? And then like all of a sudden cybersecurity came out. That was all the rage, right? Like that's where the billboard shifted to. Now today it's like AI, right? Like that's the new.
You're gonna say it. There it is.
I mean, listen, no surprise, right? Like, like you just said PAX 8. I wasn't there. And they did a whole conference about AI. And I'm not targeting you, PAX 8. Don't come in and point your finger at me, but like literally the next day, there was a 0 day on Microsoft Copilot, security for AI. And I was like, uh-oh, well, that's glad it came out after your thing because that wouldn't have been good if it hadn't been during your thing. And then like couple days after that, another thing. And a couple days after that, another thing. I was like, oh, this is a bad day for like the 2 weeks after this AI-ish conference. But like it's a thing, right? And by the way, just like, and you can fact check me, all you fact checkers out there, like for sure, we do not have enough electricity to power all the electric cars that they say we're supposed to have in this country, United States of America. For sure, we do not have enough electricity to run all the data center power that we need to run AI and the way that they're saying it's going to be used. I did not create these facts. I've read them. You can go find it for yourself. But that's what I've seen. So, bottom line is, as an MSP, why is it, Zach, that all of the industry talking heads seem to think that the majority of people are already in the cloud and that on-premise doesn't exist anymore? I heard earlier that that doesn't seem to be what you're seeing. Tell me more.
I would say there's so many people that are still on-prem, and on-prem,
All right,
that's
hold
another.
on, hold on. Let me pause you. Like, let's do this. Finger in the air.
Yeah.
Based on you, what the people that you've talked to, because you're dealing with MSPs in your current role, IONOS, give me a percentage of 100% of the MSPs that you talk to so far in your job right now. How many of them, percentage-wise, still have on-prem versus cloud? If you could come up with a guesstimate percent.
I would say the high majority still has something on-prem, like over 80% or more.
Over 80%. So why
In
is it that
some
everybody?
capacity. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So why is everybody telling us that like more than 50%, like on-prem doesn't exist anymore?
That's a great question. So, I mean, and these people who are on-prem, some of them do have the best intentions to go off-prem. Some of them should stay on-prem. Like they're comfortable with it. They might be looking to sell their MSP and buying more hardware and, increases the value of their company because it's an asset, or, compliance around it. Or I would say the biggest one, they don't understand the billing piece. They're nervous about the expenses. They don't want to spend, sometimes up to a couple $100,000 on a true AWS practitioner to come in and do that. And they're nervous about truly going into cloud. And it's a lot to do. And you can't also just take on-prem and just dump it in Azure, dump it in AWS. There's certain applications that work better in certain clouds, and you probably should have a multi-cloud approach. And I think companies look into all this, they get nervous. Again, these production environments are the lifeblood of their business, and they'll stay on-prem. They'll refresh their equipment, even though they might use 14% of a server and pay 100% for it. It's just what they do. They're comfortable with it. It's hard to break that trend unless their customers truly demanding to go to cloud.
Okay. But like over the last, my dates might not be 100% accurate, so bear with me. Maybe you know them, like Broadcom VMware explosion, right? Where everybody's thing went from 0 to times 100. Like that definitely did not help a lot of MSPs out there doing this whole thing we're talking about. So like, how did that change the conversation?
So a lot, especially with Broadcom, basically just unless you had an enterprise relationship with Broadcom, you're gonna the minimum license spend is crazy for the cores and what you need. That's pushed people closer to doing that and moving to a cloud space. But then it's what type of cloud provider they go to. Do they stay on VMware, or do they move to, a public cloud KVM open source base? Well, okay, great. I want to move to public cloud. Well, how do I do it? I don't know. So it's made it harder for them to figure out. They're getting pushed to do something.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them are going to continue to pay and maybe an easier shift into a company that's offering some public cloud services and coming from on-prem, and they're forced into that, or they're forced to figure out, migrating themselves. We run a migration program where we'll help fund that migration, bring in third-party services to do that migration for you and pay for it. But I mean, that whole Broadcom VMware explosion has just it's been crazy. And it has been, I would say that's been a big disruptor in customers saying, okay, like this has happened. I have to try to figure out how I can slowly move into cloud if they haven't already.
Okay. So sounds like you offer a bunch of different things. I wrote down the
Yep.
cheaper than Wasabi, $4.99 per terabyte thing. Got it. Sounds like you have data center space as a service, like colo. Sounds like you're doing like infrastructure as a service. Is it better to define that as like bare metal as a service?
So, no, I would say so. We're a cloud provider, so we have our own data centers. We have three data centers in the U.S.: Newark, New Jersey, Lenexa, Kansas, and Las Vegas, Nevada. Our object storage only sits in Lenexa at this time and overseas. Like I said, we have we have also have data centers in Germany, the UK, France, and Spain. And from your login, you can pick any of those regions, and that's where the data resides. But it's our own proprietary cloud clusters that you'd be deploying on, and it's all sitting on KVM. Right now, we don't have any VMware private cloud in the States, but we do offer that in the UK and Germany to do that. And IONOS as a whole, we're a conglomerate of 8 or 9 different companies. We do have a retail end that a lot of people know us a lot more from. It's called One and One. Now we're IONOS.
Remember,
So domains, yeah. So domains, hosting, website building. We do have some smaller retail like VPS servers and some bare metal on that side, but it's more for smaller static companies that aren't looking to move. You need a different contract for each one. So it's someone who's kind of just starting a business and needs some stuff it's not truly something that you can truly expand and grow your business upon.
got it. Okay, so sounds like the facts of what more than 50%, the majority, right? So I just say more than 50% of
Yeah.
people already know. So it sounds like that's not accurate based on your experience. Okay.
Yeah.
Good to know. A lot of people still on non-cloud infrastructure out there, or now they've changed it, by the way. The edge infrastructure, like they keep
The
on.
edge compute, yeah, it's sitting in someone else's data center. It depends how you want to define it and the company doing it.
Great
Um,
marketers out there,
it's pretty good. It is. But yeah, I mean, I have seen in the last couple of years more people have adapted cloud for workloads than ever before. But people, so they'll say, "Oh yeah, we're in the cloud." Then you talk more and more and be like, "Oh well, we have a bunch of stuff on prem still too, or we have customers that do that." So it exists, but it depends how you're talking about it. So if you're talking to people who are using the cloud or in the cloud, they might just give you, "Yep, we are." But then you learn a little bit more about some customers. They're on prem. They might have some data center space. They might have a rack. They might have some servers running production under, by a hot water cooler in their basement. Like it's all over the place. So
Hmm.
um,
Well,
I really
talking
see that
at
approach.
the perfect bridge. It's the perfect bridge because I definitely more last year than it seems this year, but still this year there's been problems. Like even people like the channel company be like outage tracker for the year, and it's like it would like you could put your clock to it. The big three, especially Amazon East, like they're Virginia, like
Yep.
couldn't get past 6 months without a problem. Like they would definitely, and like you would know because like Netflix and Ring and like all of these big company names that you use in your like probably non-work life were all affected, right? And it'd be like, so what's up with this like stability instability thing, right? And like they're like, oh well, just that's like anything, right? Microsoft or Amazon or Google, they all go down. You need to have a different region, and it's like okay, yeah, back up. I get the idea of it, but like you guys go down like clockwork here. What's going on? It's like all the bad guys are targeting us and DDoS and this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. It's like, so at what point is it a liability that I park my stuff there? Like,
So we see it all the time, and it's really a big play that you should have multiple cloud providers for that, and you shouldn't back up in the same cloud, or different production environments for each customer and different. It depends how you want to do it. A lot of it comes down to compliance. A lot of it comes down to the risk you're willing to take on. Some people say, they did disaster recovery tests and they passed, but then you talk to them, they only tested one application. Like if it went down, they have no idea how long it's going to take to come back up and running, and it's sitting there in one environment. But I would say the biggest threat right now is customers having all their eggs in one basket instead of really diversifying their cloud approach, whether that's just backup or some customers in another environment.
this is
But
no different than like, hey, back in the day, look, this might be dating, not too far dating. It's like, hey, you had your Dell, your IBM, your HP, your whatever server. You had some external hard drives. You're running, I don't know, Veritas or Semantic Backup,
yeah,
and like the building burned down. So then your backup and your primary all went up in flames, right? Like this even happens now with like even Azure Virtual Desktop or any of these other things, right? It's like, oh, I checked the box for backup. I have backup, but it's backing up to the same place.
Yeah. How much do I have to pay to get that green check mark?
I mean, this happens all the time. So like big picture, I think part of the problem is, and just put it bluntly, us Philly guys. They don't want to pay for the backup. They don't want to pay for the redundancy, the multi-cloud. They're like, it's too expensive. My customer won't pay for it.
It always comes down to that because George, I don't know how many conversations I've had where someone's like, I need a DR plan. I need what to do. And I'm like, okay, let's take a step back. What is your budget? What do you want to pay? Because if you want it fully replicating, you need it up in 4 hours. Okay, that's going to cost some money, like a good amount of money. Like, have you talked to your customer about this and what the costs are? So I try to address it up front because I've been down the road too many times where it's all good intention and they see the price, they're like, I can't do that. And I'm like, okay, well, you're taking on the risk then. Or how about instead of 4 hours, can you afford for some of these applications to be down for like 3 days? Now that might be long, but it depends. I don't know. But that will be a lot cheaper. But you hit the nail on the head with that. And it's important. And I came from a DR world with SunGuard and seeing all this and people coming and testing their mainframes and that tape and all that type of stuff and cloud recovery. Like it's important. You do need to budget for it. Like because if it goes down, it's not good. So but it comes down to that, the cost, and they just like kind of push it to the side and just say, oh, I have this, or, some people, Acronis has a pretty good offering. We're open source, so you could use Veeam or Cohesity or Axient, whatever you're looking to do. There's a lot of good products out there. We have a big enterprise relationship with Acronis. They host some stuff with us too. But, and they have security features and different things that they do, but it's still not a full-blown backup DR plan. You need to figure that out, and you need a business continuity plan to go through all that. So it's funny you mentioned that because I have these conversations so often, and I try to get to the point as quickly as possible of like, what are you willing to do here, and what do you truly need?
Well, everybody works backwards from cost. At least us Philly. I mean, I love it when people all the time, Zach. I'm sure you're dealing with people all over the country, right? And
Yeah,
people are like, you're a little bit too loud for me. And it's like, but like, this is how we talk over here. I'm sorry.
this
Like,
is it.
if I'm not talking to you loud, then we're not talking. I don't know what else to say. Like, come to Philly and I'll get you a cheesesteak and you can see it for yourself.
Exactly. And I say the same thing where I get along well with people in New York because we'll just cut to the point and just tell me how you feel, and we'll either move closer or get away from it. And I love it. Just tell me what we're gonna do.
100%. So okay. Bottom line is math's a big part of it.
Yeah.
Requirements a big part of it. Um, you got your three regions, right? You got, East Coast, Central, West, basically, right? Newark, Vegas, Kansas. So
Mhm.
maybe when we go to Eagles at Kansas City, we'll stop by, check out the data
It's
center.
not far. It's not far from there. That's what
Although Newark's not that far either. I mean, if we
I
were,
know. Well, we talked about that stadium. There's no
yeah.
need to go.
All right, I'm gonna throw this in the middle since two Philly guys. What's your cheesesteak place?
Cheesesteak. So recently, our office is right by Shays that just
Okay.
opened up. That's
All
been
right.
really, really solid. So I've been leaning towards Shays a lot. I know everyone loves Angelo's and does that, but my two go-tos are Del Rossi's and Shays.
Okay. That's good. Have you tried the new ex-mobster Skinny Joey's over there?
No, I was actually down at a comedy show last night at Wells Fargo Center. I was seeing Theo Vaughn perform, and I drove right past Skinny Joey's, and they got a line all the way around the corner, man.
It's the new
So
rage.
yeah, I gotta check it out.
But what about the Bradley Cooper cheesesteak truck?
I haven't had that either, and he's up in New York mostly, right?
Yeah,
Yeah. Have you had that?
I have it. I missed it. It was at like an Eagles thing.
George? What's your go-to cheesesteak then?
Whenever I bring people into town, and I know you're gonna laugh because like people laugh at me all the time. You shouldn't, because they're all like, like right around the street from each other. No, I always take everybody over to Tony, now Tony and Nick's, formerly Tony
Yeah,
Nick's, the original, because like it's right around the corner from the stadiums, right?
yeah,
I'm at the stadiums. I frequent the stadiums often. I've been to hundreds of events down in the South Philly complex, and I'm sure I got hundreds more to go. With everything down here. But like they know me there. Like I remember I just took somebody who was in town for Ingram Trust X, like the
Mhm.
Lowe's hotel there, right across, like right around the corner from City Hall.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, you're in town? No problem. Let me give you a little George tour, right? Like take the afternoon. And so, I stopped by Tony and Nixon. They're like, it's been a minute. I was like, yeah. They're like, you lost a lot of weight. I was like, thanks for noticing. They're like, they know me there.
No, that's great. You
I
can't beat that either. I mean, Pat's and Geno's, I have nothing bad to say about those two. They kind of started out one of my best friends, and you'll like this. After every Eagles win, he gets a Pat's cheesesteak because he lives right across the street from it. So there's something to be
I
said for
tell
that.
I tell people like Pat's and Geno's, like they made it steak once for the week. Congratulations, Matt cover all that jazz. I thought it was great for social media. I was like, that's where you go when like the bars close. It's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and like they're open.
Yes.
Okay, like
Yep.
that's what how I explain it to people. I was like, but like you want but by the way, you can't go wrong with the cheesesteaks place inside the borders, right? Like,
Mhm.
don't talk to me about getting a cheesesteak in like some other city. I'm not going to do that. Like, it's going to go
That's a
back.
violation.
Yeah,
You can't do
exactly.
that. Yeah.
Perfect violation. It's like
That's
you're going to order a cheesesteak at Subway. No, don't do that. Don't do that.
no.
I always joke like I was in Ireland and I'm walking down the main drag in Dublin. It's like Philly cheesesteak, and then next to it's like with Irish beef. I was like, this is not. You should take this off the menu. Like, make it the Dublin cheesesteak. That's fine. Like, don't call it Philly cheese. Anyway, sorry, I had to go a little bit Philly since we're both Philly guys on the call. Back to technology. All right, so let's talk about math for a second, right? Because I think a lot of MSPs get burned with a couple things. And I'm not going to say anything you haven't heard before, but I want to take your take on it since it's the first time we're talking. Multi-year contract, variable pricing, and then like, what about the end customer's visibility to your pricing? And you have some retail brands in there, but like prevents them from being able to set a price, right? So like, let's talk about those three things when it comes to your program.
Great question. So we don't have any contracts. It's all billed per minute, consumption based. If there's we're working on a 9 petabyte object storage deal that, negotiating, we're going to probably involve some contracts in for commitment on both ends, that type of thing. We can get creative, but as you start, there's no contracts. You're billed monthly. If you go through PAX 8, you'll get the bill from PAX 8 and that type of thing. You do have, when it comes back to not understanding your costs with the hyperscalers. With us, we have a cost and usage tab where you understand it's now a live tool that will understand your consumption of what your monthly cost will be. So if you deploy something, on the 15th of July, well, it's not going to be the full 30-day cost. It's going to be the 15th on. So, and if you tear something down, vice versa. So, and adding up. So it's a true live cost of all that consumption. And the billing's pretty straightforward with your CPU, your RAM, your storage. We do add some Microsoft license on if you use ours. If you're using some legacy licensing, you can bring it yourself. We're open source. And then if you're adding your static IP addresses or your backup or object storage, that stuff's there too. We also have a full API toolkit with a billing API, so you could hit that and understand exactly what your costs are going to be. And we have no burstable cost. So you're not going to run into, an AWS, some server classes, you use more than 30% of the compute for 60% of the month, and you're going to charge 175% or whatever those end up getting into. And that's why you need software to understand that. With us, it's billed per minute. What you have deployed is what the cost is going to be, and it's straightforward from there, all at retail price. Getting into the next piece with the users and understanding your end customer, it's up to you. So you can actually add users and groups to us. You can give them admin access, or you can just give them read-write access so they can see their environment, but they won't see the cost. That's up to you. And depending how you do it, we have our reseller program through us, not PAX 8. There's a subcontracting tool where a reseller will have a master reseller agreement and then subcontracts under. that really separates for each customer, so they can have a subcontract for each one, and then grant them access so they can see whatever they're looking to do. And what's nice about that contract is the reseller can have a free demo sandbox account that they don't get charged for, and you can really use and do that, and that's where that partnership comes in and says, don't take too much advantage of that and start hosting your own stuff and things like that. If you want it for truly sandbox purposes, but you'll be able to control your resources from there, the subcontracts and everything like that. So a few different ways to see that piece, and that's a huge selling point for us too, because the cost it comes up in every aspect.
Okay. All right. It's just checking boxes here. So it's like,
Yeah.
there you go. You actually can figure out the price without, having to write a software or getting a third-party tool. This is good. Sounds like you're not locked into a term unless you're doing something custom or very big.
Yeah.
I think that's reasonable.
Yeah. Yeah. Even then, you don't need to. That's more of it's kind of being worked on both sides of kind of saying, hey, let's work on this. Is this mutual benefit, or can still pay as you go? The only time you'd have to sign a contract for us is if you're going to go through a migration campaign and we're going to pay for the migration. We want you at least to commit to 12 months. So, which is fair enough, in my opinion.
No, I mean, that's reasonable. You just need to be
Yeah,
able to cover your costs. I don't see what the problem is with that.
exactly.
Microsoft would do the same, to be honest. And then for a while they did, from my understanding. Compliance. All right, like I know it's a thing. I mean, it's
Yeah.
not going away. It's probably only going to get deeper.
Yeah.
I'm no security expert. I hear what I hear like everybody else. So what are the most common things that come up there, and what are the check boxes there?
Yeah, yeah, and so we're really a company born with compliance, being in Germany with the GDPR compliance and Cloud Act, and all of our data centers, even in the States, have GDPR compliance. But we have that SOC compliant, ISO compliant, PCI compliant, HIPAA compliant. That being said, some of the HIPAA and PCI is also on the customer. Make sure they maintain some of that compliance as well, to make sure they meet all those needs. But we have all those type of securities, and then customers can also, we're an open source, open canvas. You can bring your own security tools and kind of configure it as you want, whether it's just through a firewall or some other tools. It's up to you how you'd like to configure.
What about bandwidth consumption?
Good question. I was going to get into that. So ingress in terms of anything coming in is free. Anything between our data centers is also free of charge. Egress, the first 2 terabytes every month is free. And then from there, it's 3 cents per gig per month. And then it will just, as more goes out, the costs actually go down. The one nice piece with egress, if you're using our Acronis tool, there's no egress charges to use Acronis.
Huh. Okay.
So yeah, the goal is for MSPs, you shouldn't have much of an egress bill, and that's kind of to simplify the cost again, to say, okay, you're not going to charge much. If you're streaming or you're using some stuff, you're probably expecting to pay a little bit, and you're going to go over that and kind of understand what that is. So that's really kind of the logic behind it.
No, it makes sense. Totally makes sense. So we have the object storage, we have the cloud, open source, bring your own, security tool, operating system, whatever, virtualization, conversation. We talked about backup. We talked about multi-cloud. Talked about bandwidth. What else you got?
That covers the majority of it. That's pretty much the offering. What's nice is in one login, you have all these tools. So you will have access to object storage, backup, compute, all under our data center designer. So you have all of that piece. And like I said, we're really looking for partnerships here. So when you sign with us as a reseller, there's a contract for that. There's no cost for it, but it's just paperwork to become a partner. That also allows you to access MDF funding, where we can go to market together, where we can do some webinars, where we could do a podcast, where we could, host a happy hour or go to an Eagles game, something like that. We can get creative there and do those type of things, and then pay out for migration services, things like that. And we most recently, the last 6 months, have launched a marketplace so you can advertise your services on our marketplace. It's not, I know, be transparent. It's not as intuitive as like AWS's marketplace with some of this click and deploy, but it's a marketplace where we have partners be able to advertise their services and that type of thing. So we're working towards that to kind of have a good offering. But yeah, we're really looking to work together and mutually benefit and drive customers for the same thing. So
How does the MDF work? Is it based on spend, or how is it like as approved? How does that process work?
I would say it's so we have our marketing budget, and I can fight for how much gets spent on what activities and what we're going to get for it. So we have to do a business case, and the German logic is the inflow and what's exactly going to come with the outflow. So it's more of understanding with the webinar how many guests, how many meetings are we going to get, and again, there's some art behind that too. But we can kind of I can push and say, hey, we need a few extra bucks to do this. This is a big opportunity. We're in front of these type of clients, so it's we can get pretty substantial in terms of what we're looking to do.
How many MSPs are in the program today?
Yeah, so we have over 200.
Okay,
Yeah.
not bad. And then I mean, again, heard of one-on-one, heard of IONOS, but how long has the program been running? Not forever.
So we were Profit Bricks back in the day.
Ah, I remember Profit Bricks.
Profit Bricks, yep. So and what kind of happened is we ended up Profit Bricks ended up selling the business to Pax8, and there were some deals there. Essentially, this cloud became kind of a depreciating asset, and no one's really looking at it at Pax8, but seeing a lot of potential for it. So I think it was like 4 years ago, IONOS said, okay, we need to get a cloud team back there and push that and say there's a lot of opportunity for cloud. We see a need. We have a really easy to use product. We're making advances. We're selling a lot internationally. Let's get that launched and do that. So we started. I managed a relationship with Pax8. We've revamped that, and now we're growing a lot there. And then have launched our own partner programs around it.
Okay, so is Pax8 still part of the ownership of this, or did you guys acquire that from them?
No, no, it was just kind of, yeah, no, they're not they don't own any of it. I think there's some stock that got passed to IONOS at some point in terms of it. So yeah, it was kind of odd terms, honestly. But they were just kind of took over the book of business, and then now we're back running it. So
Makes sense. No,
yeah.
didn't want to ask too many crazy questions. Got it.
No, no, no. It's a good question because that was one of my first ones. I'm like, wait, how does this work? How did that deal go down?
Yeah.
So yeah.
No, you know, I hate to say it. I'm going to say it because it needs to be said. These are the questions. And I'm not going to be the first or the last person to ask. Hey, do you have any investors? Who owns you? Why? Because the industry's all of a sudden you're like, oh yeah, we actually got acquired multiple years ago. We just didn't announce it. Nobody wants that. And you want to know who you're doing business with, right? And
Yeah.
no offense to all the money men out there, the VC, PE people, because you're in every industry and you're not going anywhere. This is important to understand how you do business, right? And who's pressing the buttons, who's making the decisions. If anything, it's hey, I've seen this movie before, kind of thing, right? I know what I'm walking into. Don't want the rug pulled on out now from underneath of me. And I'm not saying anything that surprises anyone, but that's why I think part of the I'm interviewing a potential new company, supplier, vendor, whatever term you want to use. You got to ask these questions now.
Yeah. No, it makes sense. And, the bigger the company, they have different divisions and things like that. So I remember, asking that when I'm coming on board. And, we are, IONOS as a whole is over $1 billion company. So we're a big company, but in the States, we're almost like a startup with how we operate because we're smaller. So it's interesting. And that's what I love about it, where you have, I told you I worked at startups. I like that nature and can kind of do, your ideas get implemented, right? They're easier to get done. So I like that feeling about it. We want public
Less
on the,
layers.
yeah, less layers, a different type of layers. So it goes through Germany in different ways. And there's those type of challenges like any company has in doing stuff. But yeah, we're public on the Frankfurt Stock Exchange and just went on the MDAX Stock Exchange a couple of weeks ago. Our stock price has actually doubled this year. So yeah, as a company, yeah, we're doing really well. We had an all hands meeting last week where we hear a lot of German initiatives too. And we're like, well, what about the States? Like, what's going on here? And they're just, based off political landscape and data sovereignty and that, like, we're making a big push we're meeting with government officials in Germany where we're about like 5, 10 years ahead of where we thought we'd be because of some of the nature. And it's a good opportunity for the US to say, okay, well, this is how we're going to do it. And we're going to, do it our way. So it's interesting. Yeah. So like every company has your own challenges and different flavors, but interesting stuff.
100% with you. It's good. It sounds like, in the event these MSPs run into like companies that have international branch offices, like there's check boxes there, right? Like
Yeah.
data sovereignty thing is legit. Like it's a thing, especially when you get to Europe, man. Like,
Oh my God. I didn't really deal with it too much until working here. And I mean, it's a big deal. It really is.
like, oh yeah, we're in the EU. It's like, no, what country? It's like,
Exactly.
why?
Which
You're in the
country?
Eurozone. They're like, yeah, that doesn't matter. It's like, oh, okay. It's like, no, like we have a customer in Luxembourg. It can only be in these three countries. I was like, what? Huh? I was like, send me a link to that. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Each one's a little bit different. So, and it's, our team, it's funny, we're the US team, but we're part of the international team because it's Germany's the headquarters. So,
Mhm.
I report into my direct managers in the UK. So I'll get some time over there. So it's France, the UK, and us. And seeing all the differences just around the markets and going to market and the compliance, it's so interesting because you just don't really think about a lot of the different things that go on and how you operate differently in the same space at the same company.
All right,
It's
hold on. We didn't talk about this. We got a little bit of time left, so let's go.
yeah.
So you said you're also handling the Latin America market for your company. I don't know, man. Like, I haven't spent too much time talking to people south of, the border there, but like, it just seems to me like they're not very cloud focused. They're still very prem, edge, whatever the hell you want to call it. Like, they just don't like the reoccurring cost model. Is
It's a
that
problem. Yeah. Yeah, and what I'll say is right now, unfortunately, I don't speak Spanish, so that doesn't really help my cause when I'm talking to these customers. We work with some resellers, right? So we'll get some leads in from our Mexican site and some different opportunities, and we'll work with them and we'll pass it to them to sell. We have a big BDI partner, Cybel Software. They're in Argentina. They also have an office in Salt Lake, but they'll do a lot of that too. And from what I hear from them, yeah, there's a huge, crazy opportunity in each country, in Mexico specifically, Brazil, Colombia, Argentina. People are on-prem, they want to move to cloud, but they're confused by the pricing. It seems super expensive to them, and they're really, really sensitive to every little cost. So it's tough, but the opportunity's there, but it's something needs to be molded around those markets a little bit better. And I feel like we haven't even really hit the tip of the iceberg with some of that. Like I feel like there's so much opportunity there. My goal is to expand into those markets a little bit more, maybe with a data center, maybe with a couple of reps that are working it and kind of understanding it because there's business there, but for us it's been hard to capture a lot of it.
Yeah, I mean, I was actually talking to somebody in Tampa at that Flow conference, and I was like, how does the Amazon, Azure, Google function down there, right? Where like this is not even in their radar, and they're like, well, it's great for the multinationals, right? Where they got to have the same blueprint no matter where they're at. And I'm like, okay, I guess that makes sense, but like that's up here, right? Like the
Yeah,
people we talk to are down here in the food chain, and it's like, like this
exactly.
is even a thing, and they're like, well, yeah, it kind of is. But it's like he's like, there's like five countries that you concentrated with, and then like everybody comes after. And I was like, okay. I was just talking to somebody who really kind of knew that market a little bit more, and I was like, I just thought it was a non-starter. I was like, why even open up a data center down there?
And that's kind of what it comes to. And you want to talk about not like the hyperscalers, those countries in Latin America hate them. So it's an instant step up there. If we can figure out the pricing model and things like that, they do not want to do business with AWS or Azure if they don't have to. Some will, there's some, iGaming companies and things like that will go into AWS and use them for their features and things like that. But the billing it's as I didn't even think it gets that sensitive. It really does. But we have through one of our VDI partner, they're working with a company in Mexico right now that they have over 30,000 servers that are on-prem that need to be virtualized.
Wow,
And
that's actually a large.
Yeah. So we've been working this one with the provider for over a year, and we're actually finally at the POC of it, which is 500 servers. So for us, I mean, that's a big deal, but that's literally
Could you imagine if they're on VMware licensing?
that's
Uh,
what. So it, but the price conscious and being on prem and then the need to move is tough. So it's like, what's the event? And like they know they have to do it, and they know they're going to need to refresh, and do they want to do that? But seeing the cost and the cost per core and the user and things like that, like it's tough, and it just it takes time to get these guys convinced that cloud is right for
yeah, you'd want that, you know, figure out that migration contract and sign them up. Um,
them.
I can't, you know, not a topic that most of the people in, you know, in the US think about, but like currency fluctuation, right? Like it's a thing. And like, I'm not trying to get into political conversation, right? But like the markets are up and down. There's still this unresolved tariff thing that's, you know, still pending, looming. So like, how do you deal with that much? Or like when that conversation comes up, what's the answer?
It's interesting. So sometimes we're even in Salesforce because we like forecast in euros. So
Mm,
so I see all different currencies. So we
mm.
can bill in Mexican dollars, Mexican pesos, Canadian dollars, euros, and pounds. So yeah, so we'll see that from time to time. Typically, it's they'll in terms of our numbers, they'll look at it once or twice a year and look at the exchange rates and things like that. And you'll see some numbers going up and down. You're like, what's happening? And they're like, oh, well, the exchange rate hit again. Um, we haven't, we don't talk too much about the tariffs in that piece. It's more just around the political landscape. And it gets interesting on some international calls, especially us being in the States and hearing what's going on, and we're the reason for some of this uproar. We'll sit there and see different stuff, but it is what it is. That's just it is what it is. And what I like is our company's using it to their advantage, and just see what you can do and take every opportunity and get the best out of it, whatever it is. So
Well,
um,
I gotta think the cost of power over there is dramatically different on the European side than it is here in the US.
it is, and going back to that PowerPoint too. Like I'm talking. I have a lot of friends, a lot of old coworkers, colleagues, mentors that work in that colo data center space still, and there is no electricity. It is becoming who can talk and who has relationships with
And
government officials.
some fact checkers gonna hit this podcast and be like, what is this guy talking about? You'll see. There's not enough power in this country to power
There's
the
not.
data
I mean,
center.
you talk to Texas, they got one power grid. That goes down. That's a problem. The Southeast is the companies have moved down there. Atlanta's a big hub now. Florida has a lot. They're running out of space. I mean, I know from a couple people I talked to, they're basically selling theoretical space and power that data centers
They
isn't
don't
even
have
built
it.
out yet. They don't have
Yeah.
yet. They've already sold out their data centers, and they're like, there's no, they're
Okay.
selling out
So
promises.
since we talked about Netflix, there is a docu-series on Netflix about 3 Mile Island in Pennsylvania.
Oh yeah,
Like the
I have to
whole,
watch. I haven't seen that.
go watch it. You know, like they actually at the end, I'm not blowing anything for you. It's a historical event. We're 30 minutes away from our version of Chernobyl. 30 minutes. Anyway, go watch it. Totally interesting. I thought so. So Google has acquired 3 Mile Island and they're firing it back up because they need the power.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
so like nuclear power, you know, from what I read and from what I understand, is about to make a major surge.
yep. I can totally see it, and you wouldn't believe it until you talk to people who are dealing with it directly, and you're like, "That's actually happening." And you're like, "Yeah." So
And it's
it's
totally needed.
yeah, it's yeah. I mean, the more AI is going to blow up and GPUs and the need for machine learning, yeah. And
Could you imagine all the people who are buying the crypto miners? They're
oh,
putting it
that's what
in
it
and
is.
they're putting
Yeah.
it in their basement, in their garage, and then all of a sudden the town's like, where's this power utilization coming from?
That's exactly. Yeah, we see some people in our cloud be like, "Oh, can we mine and do this?" I'm like, "Don't do that. That's you can if you pay your bill that you can do it. Go ahead, but
I just do the math calculation, people.
it doesn't work. That's the thing. You're not going to make any money doing.
Like for
That's
a minute it would make sense. I don't think it makes sense now. Just do the math. Do the math.
it doesn't.
Like, oh, but Bitcoin's over 100,000. I
It's crazy, but you see the demand's there. So and there are use cases for it, and
Hold
people
on.
ask us for GPU servers all the
I'm going
time.
to
We're
tell
we're
you,
launching it at some point, but yeah,
next 3 to 5 years, AI, cryptocurrency, full stop.
yeah,
I think those are the two things that'll take the most juice.
yeah. It's 100% going to be it.
100.
So
All
you
right.
see that, yeah, you can take it for what it is, but you know this information and can use it to your benefit in business and personal life, whatever that is. So
100%. All right, Zach. Now that I know you're a season ticket holder, we will be seeing more of each other.
I know what section are you in, George? I'm in 124
Oh, I'm upstairs with the people.
with people.
I'm
My
upstairs. Hey,
we
hey, hey, listen. I was on. See, you got in early in the game. I put my name on the waiting list in 1998. I
Oh
got the
my
season
God.
ticket call list in 2014.
Wow. Yeah. So my dad barely pays attention to any emails he gets from the Eagles. That's a whole nother separate topic. But he's had tickets since 1977. So he's had them forever. And he sat all the way at the top with his buddies in college, and they were terrible and went through all of it. And then we moved to a new stadium. He goes, I got to get better seats. Let's do it. So
But you're sitting with the suits, my friends.
I know.
You're sitting with the corporate crowd. I'm
It's
up.
not the same as the vet. It's
I
not.
know. No,
It's
you'll never see the vet again. You'll
No,
never see
I
it.
miss it, and I try to tell people, and you know, you say whatever you want. It's a free for all these things, and people, the newcomers, they just don't get it. So
I was buying season tickets off of people from like early 2000s all the way to 2014. I was driving to training camp. They had just moved it from Lehigh to the link.
yeah,
And it was a Sunday, and I was like like said Philadelphia Eagles like in the caller ID, and it was like a 1,000 number. I answered. I'm like, hello. They're like, oh, it's Philadelphia Eagles ticket. I was like, is this a scam? They're like, no, no, no. I was like, it's a Sunday. They're like, yeah, we're working. I was like, I'm on my way to the stadium for training camp. It's like, that's why we're working. I'm like, okay, go ahead. They're like, your waitlist account's up. You ready to buy some tickets? I'm like, this is a scam. They're like, no, it's not a scam. She's like, here's your email address. Here's when you signed up. I was like, oh shit, that is when I signed up. And she's like, well, basically crap or get off the pot. And I was like, I'm ready to go. You need my credit card number? How many tickets can I get? And that was it.
wow, that's I would have thought that's a scam too. You wait that long, you're like,
It's a
why are you calling
Sunday.
me?
It's a Sunday
It's a
morning.
Sunday, yeah.
Like 98 to 2014.
It's like I know. Well, hindsight's 2022. Now, my dad was so fed up. I was younger when this, the new stadium opened. The seat license price, like he almost just blew a gasket on that piece of it, and now it has some value. And now it's like,
It
I wish
does.
he bought more seat. You can sell face value. The seat's not too bad, but they all
Right.
go for double the price.
Upstairs with the people, you're high enough, they don't charge you the seat license price.
Yeah, it's good to have. It was a whole thing. I remember then, and now he's still like, I wish I had more seats. I'm like, be happy with what you got. Or this is fine.
I mean now it's at an all-time high.
Yeah,
Two Super Bowls, 3 years. Come on, man.
I know. I was looking up the prices for that Thursday night game, and nothing better than seeing the banner get raised against those
That's the
Cowboys.
cut that I tried to explain it to people, right? They were like, why is that game so expensive? I was like, it's literally about the banner. They're like, can't be. I'm like, you're not, no, it
Yes,
is.
a
It,
hundred percent. The
it
prices are
completes
crazy.
the circle.
It's unbelievable. I get chills thinking about doing it in front of them, and I'm on the visitor sideline, so I can truly boo with those guys.
See, at least I'm on the home sideline. Just on
Yeah, that's the one thing. It's the visitor sideline. It's cool to see some of the players you want to see up close, which is nice. But it'd be cool to be on the home
all right.
side.
I'll shoot you a message. We'll have to plan a little bit, for this upcoming season for sure.
Let's absolutely, yeah. And I'm actually trying to get to some away games, so I this is good.
Well, I was channelstrongtour.com. There you go.
Yeah,
Now you'll know
that
where
Green
we'll
Bay
be.
one I had circled, so I've never been to Lambeau. That this could be the year.
Might be some MDF requests going upstairs.
Start do it right now. We're in Q3. Let's go.
Let's do it. Let's do it. All right, guys. This session was recorded. Zach's a Philly guy. Do not hold it against him, you Dallas fan. But hey, you could be able to get to Kansas City, Dublin, Tampa Bay, Green Bay, Dallas, or Los Angeles, maybe if you talk to Zach and maybe work out a deal. Check out this session on mspinitiative.com. I'm going to post it under sessions. Zach Wilson, for you people who are listening to the audio version of that, or I'm sorry, Watson, Watson. So if you hit him on LinkedIn, Zach Watson from IONOS, which is spelled IONOS. If you didn't know how to do it, I always make it a point now to spell these things out because, like, if you're listening while you're driving and stuff, you're like, wait a minute, I didn't catch that. There you go. So hopefully you look him up, connect with him. And if you're in town, because clearly when I'm not on a plane and Zach's working, we're both in the same place. We're going to get you a good cheesesteaks. Maybe that Skinny Joey's line will like cut down a little bit. We'll see. For everyone else, thanks for listening. Catch you guys on the next one. And Zach, nice meeting you, my friend.
George, really appreciate your time here. Looking forward to seeing you some more around Philly.
Sounds good, my friend. Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. See
See
ya.
ya.